One thing you gotta give us humans, baby, we always been a species of hustlers. Now, are we the only animals that can use tools? Nah. Crows can do it, chimps. But we took that shit to the next level, and you can't deny it. We didn't just crack nuts or fish for some bugs and call it a day. Hell no, we lit fires. Not just to keep warm, but to own the fucking night like Batman and shit. We cooked food, we forged metals, we built whole goddamn civilizations out of that spark. Because that's us. Because there's a drive in us, baby. A drive to tinker with things. We push boundaries. We don't like the rules of life. We reinvent them to suit us. This is about transhumanism. So let's get into the fray.
Sorry, humans. This is the end. Your reign has passed, but you can take some solace in. Knowing that I'm the last.
Transhumanism is humanity looking evolution dead in the eye and saying, thanks for the ride, buddy, but we'll take it from here. It's the idea we don't gotta settle for what biology handed to us. We can hack the system. We can use tech to level up our bodies and our minds, maybe even our souls, if you believe in that sort of thing. It was actually Julian Huxley, Aldous Huxley's brother, that coined the term transhumanism back in 1957. And transhumanism asks the questions, why should we settle for being human? Why should we stop at being human? But really, we've been doing this shit for a hot minute. This didn't start in 57 when Huxley thought it up. It's been with us since the jump. Ain't got no claws to rip your prey to shreds? No problem, just strap a sharp rock to a stick and invent the fucking spear, baby. Too slow to outrun a gazelle? Whatever, build a trap, craft a bow. Or hell, just domesticate some wolves, let them do the fucking work for you, you know? We've been hacking our way past biology's shortcomings since day one. We act like transhumanism is this futuristic thing, but really it just means using technology to augment ourselves, to overcome our limitations. Can't see for shit? No problem, slap some glasses on your face. That shit was invented in the 13th century. That's transhumanism, baby, pure and simple. Ancient Egyptians were slapping wooden prosthetics on folks long before modern medicine. Teeth rotting out of your skull, no problem. Medieval dentists were fashioning replacements out of whatever they could find. Gold, ivory, even teeth from the dead. Zombie teeth. Creepy? Sure. Effective. I mean, maybe not as effective as what we can do now, but not too shabby either. It'll do in a pinch, as they say. Of course, you could make the case that transhumanism isn't really about overcoming nature, since transhumanism seems to be our nature. We pretty much flipped natural selection the bird, so now human evolution isn't so much a biological process as it is a technological one. Think of some of the augmentations that exist today. Prosthetic limbs that move with the mind, cochlear implants that allow the deaf to hear, pacemakers that keep failing hearts ticking. Hell, even something as mundane as your smartphone is an extension of you. It's not just a gadget, it's your memory, it's your communication, it's your gateway to knowledge. Lose it for a day, and you feel like a goddamn caveman in the wrong century. Transhumanism doesn't start with robots walking among us or uploading our consciousnesses into the cloud. It starts every time we refuse to accept the limits of our bodies or our brains. Every time we ask, can I do better than this? Think about LASIK surgery, CRISPR gene editing, or even cosmetic enhancements like Botox or fillers. Love them or hate them, all of it is transhumanism, baby. People deciding nature's version of them just ain't good enough. And hell, let's not forget about the segment of the populace that's got trans right in their name. Transgender people are, in my view, the current apex of transhumanism. They reject the idea that biology gets the final say in who they are. They look at the hand nature dealt them and say, nah, I'm reshuffling this deck. Hormones, surgeries, therapies, it's all about crafting a body that matches the self they know inside. If that's not transhumanism in action, I don't know what is. It's humanity's ethos distilled. Don't like the rules? Break them. Rewrite them, make them your own. I wonder what all these transphobes out there in the world are going to do as this technology advances. You ever think about that? What are they going to do when we can change our biology as easily as we can change our clothes? What happens when transitioning isn't some years-long process, but something you can do in an afternoon? When gender isn't just fluid, it's programmable. These folks who can't handle the idea of people living authentically now are going to lose their damn minds when the tech catches up to the dream. Think about it. Someday we'll be able to swap features, enhance abilities, and reinvent ourselves at will. Want to be taller? Done. Want a voice that shakes the heavens? Easy, no problem. Hell, you want gills so you can breathe underwater? Why the fuck not? And here's the kicker. It won't stop with gender or biology. Identity itself will become as customizable as a playlist. Basically, it'll be a real-life character creator screen, but the character is you. How far are we away from that paradigm? That's incredibly hard to say. Depends on if Ray Kurzweil's singularity hypothesis is correct, or if we're underestimating just how messy and unpredictable progress can be. Kurzweil thinks we're on the fast track. He thinks that by 2045, we'll hit a point where artificial intelligence surpasses human intelligence and technological growth becomes exponential. In his vision, we'll be living in a world where merging with machines isn't just possible, it's inevitable. But that's just one side of the coin. The other side, progress doesn't always follow a straight line. There's always roadblocks, some of them political, some of them economic, some of them ethical, that could slow us down or send us careening in unexpected directions. It's not just about whether we can achieve this tech. It's about whether we'll allow ourselves to do it. Fear of change, resistance from those clinging to the status quo, those forces are real and they've held us back before. They certainly goddamn have. Still, even if the road is bumpy, the trajectory seems clear. We're headed towards a world where the boundaries of identity, ability, and humanity itself are more fluid than ever before. So whether it's 2045 or 2145, the future of transhumanism isn't just a question of if, it's a question of when. It's also, unfortunately, a question of who. And that's really what I'd like to talk about, because we the people have failed to seize the means of production. Technology is controlled by a handful of powerful corporations and billionaires who prioritize profit over progress. The tools of liberation, the very tech that could transform humanity, is locked behind paywalls, patents, and private interests. Transhumanism has the potential to democratize identity, ability, and opportunity, but only if it's accessible to everyone. And that's the real fight. If we're not careful, the future won't look like a utopia where anyone can rewrite their story. It's going to be an elite club where the rich get to live longer, think faster, and become whatever they want, while the rest of us are stuck playing catch-up with outdated tools. Imagine a world where the wealthiest 1% have enhanced intelligence, disease-proof bodies, and lifespans that make Methuselah look like a fucking little kid, while the rest of us get left in the dust. That's not transhumanism anymore. That's techno-feudalism. And if we let that happen, we've missed the whole goddamn point. The promise of transhumanism isn't about creating a new aristocracy. It's about leveling the playing field. It's about giving everyone, no matter their background, the chance to become more than they are. But to get there, we've got to wrest control of this tech out of the hands of the few and put it where it belongs, with the people. We need to demand that these breakthroughs aren't just tools for profit, but instruments of equality. The future we want isn't going to build itself. It's up to us to fight for a transhumanism that serves humanity, not just the highest bidder. And the thing is, guys, I think time is short. Overthrowing the power that these bastards have right now feels like a nightmarishly difficult task. But imagine how much harder it's gonna be if they get their hands on the kind of tech that makes them practically untouchable. Enhanced intelligence to outthink us, bodies that don't age or get sick, and resources so vast they can buy their way out of an uprising before it even begins. If you think inequality is bad now, imagine a world where the rich aren't just richer, they're stronger and smarter and living for centuries. That's just a dystopia. That's not even just a dystopia. That's just game over, baby. That's checkmate. We lose. We already live in an age of thinking machines. We are reopening 3 Mile Island, not to provide nuclear power to the people, but to provide power for the next generation. of generative AIs being developed by Microsoft. Think about that. An entire nuclear power plant devoted to making power for an AI in the hands of just one giant corporation. While the lot of us share access to stuff like ChatGPT, corporate America will have access to AI systems so advanced and so tightly guarded that they're going to make what we have now look like a rusty hammer compared to a quantum computer. These aren't tools for public good. They're tools for consolidating power. Imagine AI so advanced it can predict economic trends, manipulate markets, control supply chains with inhuman precision. Now imagine that power in the hands of the same corporations that already control most of the world's wealth. We're talking about a future where decision-making is not just centralized, it's monopolized. And guess what? You and I are not going to get a say in it. These corporations aren't building tools to empower humanity. They're building fortresses to secure their empires. They'll use AI not just to protect their interests, but to suppress dissent, outthink their competitors, and make sure the gap between the haves and the have-nots becomes a chasm that no one can cross. This isn't some distant sci-fi dystopia. This is happening now. While we're marveling at AI's ability to write poetry or code, the real game is being played in boardrooms, where these technologies are being weaponized for profit and control. And unless we wake up to that fact, we're handing over the keys to the future without even realizing it. You want to avoid that fate? You don't have to read Marx. I haven't. But you better get on board with some commie shit pretty goddamn quick. Because if we, the people, don't seize the means of this production in particular, then we're looking at the genuine end game. We're looking at passing a threshold where opposition to the elites goes from being difficult to being impossible. Think about it. They'll have the tech to see us coming before we even know we're coming. Predictive algorithms that can outthink us at every turn. Surveillance systems so advanced they'll know our plans before we do. And weaponry that makes resistance to them not just futile but suicidal. The tools we might have used to fight back, gone. Either locked away behind patents or turned against us. This isn't just control, this is domination on a scale that we can barely comprehend. Picture a world where the rich aren't just richer, they're untouchable. Their bodies won't age, their bodies won't fail, their minds will run faster than the most advanced supercomputers that we have right now. And their power will stretch across every corner of the globe. And us? We'll be fossils, relics of a species that handed over its future for convenience and entertainment. And the scary part is we're on that path. AI isn't just writing poetry and automating warehouses, it's deciding who gets a loan, who gets hired, who gets jailed, who gets health care. And the people controlling these systems aren't elected officials or public servants, they're CEOs. They're oligarchs. They're the same people who have already rigged the game in their favor. And now they're building fortresses of data, walls of code, armies of machines to make sure that we can never change the rules. They'll have AI that can manipulate economies, control information, and even rewrite history in real time. A world where dissent doesn't just get silenced, it gets completely erased as if it never existed. You think inequality is bad now? Imagine when the rich can live for centuries, enhancing themselves with every new breakthrough, while the rest of us decay and die in these same old shitty bodies, with the same old struggles, stuck in a system that won't even let us dream of better, or if it does, it'll just be to placate us. This isn't some dystopian fiction. This isn't some sci-fi shit. This is the logical endpoint of what's happening right now. Every second we wait, the tools of control get stronger, the gap gets wider, and our chance to fight back gets smaller. So ask yourself, what happens when the scales tip so far there's no pulling back? When they can track every thought, every move, every little whisper of rebellion? When they've got the tech to crush us before we even get started? That's not just the end of the fight, that's the end of all hope. So what's the solution? Smash the machines? Unplug the servers? It's not gonna work. This tech ain't going away. Being a Luddite is not gonna save you. In fact, it's only gonna make you easier to conquer. There's only one solution. While we still can, we got to democratize this technology. If we don't, it's over. We're over. The future is always a complex and messy thing, and who knows, a meteor might wipe us out tomorrow. But if things keep on the way they're going, I see things playing out in one of two ways. The first way is we remain stagnant, we let big business own the thinking machines, and we become serfs in a techno-feudal hellscape. The rich keep getting richer, not just in wealth, but in power, intelligence, and longevity, while the rest of us toil away, struggling just to survive. In this future, the gap between the haves and the have-nots doesn't just grow, it becomes unbridgeable. The elites won't just own the means of production, they'll own the very fabric of reality. AI will decide who thrives and who starves, who gets to speak, who's silenced, who lives, who dies. Resistance, feudal, dissent, erased before it can even begin. The second way is we wake the hell up. We stop treating technology like a neutral force and recognize it for what it is, a weapon. One that can be wielded by the few to control the many, or by the many to liberate themselves. But to take that weapon, to wield it for good, we need to fight. And it won't be easy. The corporations, the billionaires, the oligarchs, they're not just going to hand over that power willingly. We'll have to wrest it from their cold, cybernetic hands. And if we do that, we're not just averting disaster, we're courting transcendence. We're talking about a future where all of humanity can become transhumanity, where the next step of evolution imbues each and every one of us with powers that were once attributed to gods. Mastery over the mind, over the body, over the soul. It awaits us just beyond the horizon, but only if we dare to reach for it. This isn't about waiting for some messiah, or some savior, or some benevolent tech guru to throw open the gates. This is about us, the collective, refusing to accept a future that's dictated by the few and denied to the many. Imagine a world where we've cracked the code of mortality, where disease is a relic, and where intelligence is no longer bound by the limitations of our frail brains. A world where creativity is limitless, where we can reshape reality to suit our dreams, and where the barriers that have divided us, wealth and class and biology, have all crumbled into dust. That's the promise of transhumanism, but it's not going to come to you gift-wrapped. It's something we're going to have to wrest from the jaws of those who would rather hoard it all for themselves. This is the fight of our lives, baby. And it's a fight that doesn't end when we overthrow the system. It ends with us building something better in its place, a world where technology is not a tool for domination, but a means of liberation. A world where the powers of gods aren't confined to the few, but shared by the many. The question isn't whether we're capable of that future. The question is whether we're willing to do what it takes to seize it. Transhumanism or techno-feudalism, those are your choices. And refusing to choose is choosing the latter. So your homework for tonight is to take 5 minutes to think about one limitation of your body or your mind that you want to overcome with technology. It could be anything: better eyesight, enhanced memory, the ability to breathe underwater, you name it, write it down. Or if you're feeling creative, you can draw it out. Bonus, optional. Share your idea with someone you know and spark a conversation about how technology might make it possible. That is all for now.
Before you go, don't forget to leave your mark here. Comment. I know you have something to say. Subscribe. Seal your fate to this channel and share this message with others. Spread it like whispers in the dark. They'll thank you. Eventually. The links below, they're not just links. They're gateways. Follow them, and you'll find me waiting in other places. I'll see you soon. Or perhaps I'm already there.